From Brixton schoolboy to alien rock god, discover how David Bowie transformed popular culture by proving that identity itself could be art. This is the ultimate story of constant reinvention, gender-bending creativity, and the courage to be perpetually different in a world demanding conformity.
Narrative: David Bowie, the starman who fell to earth in a modest semi-detached house in Brixton, South London. A peculiar boy with mismatched eyes sat mesmerized by his older half-brother's collection of American rock and roll records, absorbing the sounds of Little Richard and Elvis Presley while dreaming of escape from the grey conformity of 1950s suburban England. Completely unaware that his hunger for transformation and his gift for reinvention would make him the most influential artist of his generation and prove that identity itself could be a form of creative expression. This wasn't just any music-obsessed teenager seeking fame and fortune. This was David Robert Jones, who would become David Bowie, the shape-shifting alien of popular culture whose 5-decade career would challenge every assumption about gender, sexuality, performance, and the very nature of what it meant to be human. Born on January 8, 1947, in Brixton during the harsh winter that followed World War II's end, David entered a world still scarred by bombing, rationing, and the social upheaval that came with soldiers returning home to find their country irrevocably changed. His birth into working-class South London meant his earliest years were shaped by the struggle to rebuild Britain while also exposing him to the Caribbean immigrants who were transforming Brixton's cultural landscape with new music, fashion, and ways of being that challenged traditional English expectations. His father, Haywood Stenton Jones, worked for the charity Dr. Barnardo's while harboring unfulfilled artistic ambitions that he would later encourage in his son, understanding that creative expression could provide escape from the limitations of class and circumstance. Haywood's work with disadvantaged children exposed the family to society's margins, while his own frustrated creativity taught David that artistic ambition was noble but also dangerous if not pursued with sufficient determination and strategic thinking. His mother, Margaret Mary Burns, was a waitress and cinema usherette whose love of American movies and popular culture provided David with early exposure to glamour, performance, and the possibility that ordinary people could transform themselves into extraordinary characters through the power of costume, makeup, and theatrical presentation. Margaret's job at the cinema meant David grew up surrounded by images of Hollywood stars who demonstrated how identity could be constructed and reconstructed through visual presentation and performative skill. The complex family dynamics created by his half-brother Terry, who was 10 years older and struggled with mental illness throughout his life, provided David with both musical inspiration and tragic awareness of the thin line between creative genius and psychological breakdown. Terry's introduction of David to jazz, beat poetry, and avant-garde culture opened doors to artistic possibilities, while his gradual descent into schizophrenia created fear and fascination with madness that would haunt David's work throughout his career. His early education at Stockwell Infant School and later Bromley Technical High School revealed artistic talent combined with academic indifference, as David was far more interested in music, art, and drama than conventional subjects like mathematics or science. His teachers recognized unusual creativity but worried about his lack of focus on practical skills that might lead to steady employment, having no concept that his apparent aimlessness was actually intensive preparation for a career that didn't yet exist. The eye injury he sustained at age 15, caused by his friend George Underwood's punch during a fight over a girl, left him with permanently dilated pupils that created his distinctive mismatched appearance while also reinforcing his sense of being different from everyone around him. This physical mark of difference, initially a source of self-consciousness, eventually became part of his mystique and helped establish the otherworldly appearance that would define his various personas. His first musical experiences with school bands like the Conrads and the King Bees provided basic training in performance and songwriting while also teaching him the business aspects of the music industry through harsh experience of record company indifference and the difficulty of achieving commercial success. These early failures taught him that talent alone was insufficient for success and that survival in the entertainment industry required constant adaptation and strategic thinking. The formation of the Manish Boys in 1964 marked his first serious attempt at professional music making while also beginning his exploration of image and presentation as crucial elements of artistic expression. His appearance on BBC television to discuss long hair on men demonstrated his early understanding that controversy and provocation could generate attention more effectively than conventional musical promotion. His adoption of the stage name David Bowie in 1966, chosen to avoid confusion with Davy Jones of the Monks, represented his first major act of self-creation and the beginning of his lifelong practice of using identity as creative material. The choice of Bowie, after the American Pioneer's knife, suggested someone ready to cut through conventional boundaries while also hinting at the dangerous edge that would characterize much of his work. The period of struggling as a folk singer in the late 1960s, performing in small clubs and releasing commercially unsuccessful albums, provided crucial training in songwriting and performance while also exposing him to the London underground scene where gender boundaries, sexual conventions, and social norms were being questioned and challenged. His involvement with mime artist Lindsay Kemp taught him about theatrical presentation and physical expression that would later inform his stage performances and music videos. His breakthrough single Space Oddity in 1969, released to coincide with the Apollo 11 moon landing, demonstrated his ability to capture cultural moments while also establishing themes of alienation, transformation, and the search for identity that would define his entire career. The song's protagonist, Major Tom, became the first of many characters Bowie would create to explore different aspects of human experience and possibility. The early 1970s marked his emergence as a major cultural force through the creation of Ziggy Stardust, the androgynous alien rock star who challenged every assumption about masculinity, sexuality, and performance while also providing Bowie with a vehicle for exploring themes of fame, destruction, and rebirth. Ziggy's glam rock aesthetic, combining elements of theater, fashion, and music, created a new template for popular entertainment that influenced countless subsequent artists. His marriage to Angie Barnett in 1970 brought together two individuals committed to pushing social and sexual boundaries while also creating a partnership that understood fame as performance art and personal life as material for artistic exploration. Their relationship, characterized by openness about bisexuality and unconventional gender roles, challenged traditional expectations about rock star marriages while also providing mutual support for their respective creative ambitions. The Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars era represented the peak of glam rock's influence while also demonstrating Bowie's understanding that successful personas must be abandoned before they become stale or predictable. His decision to kill Ziggy at the height of the character's popularity showed artistic courage and strategic thinking that prioritized long-term career development over short-term commercial success. His move to America in the mid-1970s exposed him to different musical influences while also providing escape from the British media attention that had begun to feel suffocating and limiting. The period spent in Los Angeles and New York introduced him to funk, soul, and electronic music while also deepening his exploration of cocaine addiction, occultism, and the darker aspects of fame that would inform his next artistic phase. The creation of the Thin White Duke persona during the Station to Station period represented both artistic evolution and personal crisis, as Bowie explored themes of fascism, control, and alienation while struggling with drug addiction and psychological fragmentation. This character's elegant brutality and emotional coldness reflected both contemporary political anxieties and Bowie's own internal struggles with identity and authenticity. His relocation to Berlin in 1976, seeking artistic renewal and personal recovery, led to collaboration with producer Tony Visconti and musician Brian Eno that produced the Berlin trilogy of albums that many consider his artistic peak. Low, Heroes, and Lodger combined electronic experimentation with emotional exploration while also demonstrating his ability to absorb and transform avant-garde influences into accessible popular music. The song Heroes, recorded in Berlin with its famous guitar sound created by Robert Fripp and its lyrics about love transcending political division, became one of his most enduring compositions while also symbolizing hope and human connection during the Cold War period. The track's combination of personal intimacy and political symbolism showed Bowie's ability to address universal themes through specific cultural moments. His ventures into acting during the late 1970s and 1980s, including memorable performances in The Man Who Fell to Earth and Labyrinth, demonstrated his understanding that artistic expression could transcend medium boundaries while also providing alternative outlets for his theatrical talents. His film work, while not always commercially successful, reinforced his image as a multifaceted artist unwilling to be confined to single forms of expression. The commercial comeback achieved with Let's Dance in 1983 showed his ability to adapt to changing musical trends while maintaining his essential artistic identity, though the album's mainstream success also created new pressures and expectations that would influence his subsequent work. the tension between commercial viability and artistic integrity became an ongoing theme in his later career as he balanced financial necessity with creative ambition. His formation of the band Tin Machine in the late 1980s represented an attempt to recapture the collaborative energy of his earlier work while also escaping the expectations associated with solo stardom. The project's mixed reception demonstrated both his willingness to take artistic risks and the difficulty of recreating past successes through deliberate effort rather than organic creative development. The 1990s brought renewed artistic confidence through albums like Outside and Earthling that showed his ability to absorb contemporary musical influences while maintaining his distinctive voice and vision. His collaboration with younger artists and producers demonstrated ongoing curiosity about new sounds, while his continued touring proved his enduring appeal to multiple generations of fans. His decision to largely withdraw from public life after his heart attack in 2004 created mystery and speculation while also allowing him to focus on personal relationships and private creative projects without the pressure of maintaining public persona. This period of semi-retirement demonstrated his understanding that artistic careers required periods of renewal and reflection as well as public productivity. The surprise release of The Next Day in 2013, his first album in 10 years, showed that his creative powers remained intact while also proving his continued ability to generate excitement through unexpected artistic gestures. The album's themes of mortality, legacy, and artistic creation reflected his awareness of aging while also demonstrating undiminished creative ambition. His final album, Blackstar, released just 2 days before his death from liver cancer on January 10, 2016, represented a profound meditation on mortality and transformation while also providing a fitting conclusion to a career defined by constant change and reinvention. The album's experimental jazz influences and cryptic lyrics created a final artistic statement that was both deeply personal and universally resonant. The global outpouring of grief that followed his death demonstrated how completely he had transcended entertainment to become a cultural icon whose influence extended far beyond music to fashion, art, sexuality, and the very concept of identity itself. Memorial tributes from around the world showed that his impact had touched virtually every aspect of contemporary culture while inspiring countless individuals to embrace their own uniqueness and creative potential. His influence on subsequent generations of artists can be seen in everything from fashion and music videos to attitudes toward gender fluidity and sexual identity, as his example demonstrated that authenticity could involve constant change rather than fixed identity. His legacy proved that the most enduring art comes from artists willing to risk failure through continuous experimentation rather than repeating past successes. The continued analysis and celebration of his work through exhibitions, tributes, and academic study demonstrates his lasting significance as both entertainer and cultural philosopher whose exploration of identity, transformation, and human possibility continues influencing how we think about creativity, individuality, and the relationship between art and life. Today, David Bowie is remembered as the artist who proved that popular culture could be both commercially successful and intellectually sophisticated, while also showing that gender, sexuality, and identity could be forms of creative expression rather than fixed biological or social categories. His story demonstrates that the most influential artists are often those who refuse to accept conventional limitations and instead use their careers as ongoing experiments in human possibility. From Brixton schoolboy to global icon, his journey proves that authenticity doesn't require consistency but rather the courage to keep evolving, exploring, and surprising both audiences and oneself throughout an entire lifetime dedicated to pushing boundaries and expanding what popular art can achieve and express.
Bowie proved that authenticity means constant evolution, not consistency. He showed us that creativity requires courage to keep changing and challenging boundaries throughout entire lifetimes. Subscribe for more cultural revolution stories. Like if Bowie inspired your uniqueness, share your favorite Bowie transformation.